9th, 2025 Town Council meeting for the Town of Cambridge City to order. And we'll start with the opening prayer and Pledge of Allegiance.
Father in heaven, thank you for this new day. Thank you for this community that we can be a part of and the leaders of this community. I just pray you guide us in this meeting and lead us. Help us to be good stewards of what you've entrusted to us, and we'll give you praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. And for sure, if you'll call the roll.
Sure. Mike Amick, we know he's going to be absent. Debbie McGinley here. Jim McLean.
Here.
Gary Cole.
Here.
And Jim King.
Here.
And has everybody had a chance to review the minutes from last month?
Make a motion, we accept the minutes.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to accept the minutes from last month. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And has everybody had a chance to look at the claims?
Make a motion, we accept the claims.
I seconded.
Wow.
Have a motion and a second to accept the claims for this month. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And finally, the financials in front of you.
I'll make a motion, we accept the financial.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to accept the financials for the month. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
That was great. Alone.
Mike who? Anyway.
And there's no public hearing this month.
It gives you all on the agenda. You notice that too as well.
And so we'll start with guests. Steve Cox, interested in mowing the riverbank, I see.
Yeah, I was just seeing the possibility of doing that. I was playing last Monday, playing frisbee golf, and lost one of my frisbees. I noticed it was really, really tall, and I'd love to have the opportunity. If I don't know what you're paying or who you're using before, but we'd be interested in doing that and getting that cleaned up. I would recommend we do it twice a year, maybe around June, and I know you want to do it right before Canal Days. Do it again then, and then that'll make it less good and crisp. So, yeah, just have an interest in doing that.
So are you going to get me a quote?
Yeah, we can get you a quote. I'm not for sure. Whatever you're doing that, we would love to try to beat it or go below it.
Joe, I have an impression that Lonnie may not be able to do it this year if his mini's not working. He's done it in the past.
Yes, that's who's done it in the past.
And I don't know if he's.
Yeah, is it still down or not? I know it was, and I would have to get with him again.
Do we ordinarily mow it twice a year?
It's just been once, used before Canal Days, usually that week before, week and a half before, depending on weather. So,
The key is it's a river, and that bank needs to have roots and it needs to have plants. So we can't. I don't know how. I know we've planted trees before and then we've had to chop them down, but
yeah, we can take it down. It just has to be the same thing with that sycamore tree that's in the. If the root ball is still in the ground connected, it has to stay. We can cut it off, but it has to stay. If it's out, then we can take that out of the river.
but
But
maybe doing it twice would be helpful then instead of once where we just chop it to heck.
we could try it that way or just do it the one time. It could be beneficial. I mean, it's working once a year, but I mean, we try it, see.
Let's see what his quote is. And then,
Yeah.
I mean, if he comes way under, then
What kind of issues do you get with the frisbee golf? What kind of issues you run into with it being so high?
Wow, just like you throw it, if it goes anywhere in that grass, you can't hardly, it's almost impossible to get in there to find anything if people are playing. But, and it is extremely high right now. I think it'd be nice if it was cut now and then again before the Canal Days. But we can get in there and we have real nice commercial bush trimmers and just get in there and just knock everything down and make it look nice. And be able to find someone that's so pretty to be able to see what
It is sandy.
Yeah, I was down. I was out.
Okay.
I actually was in there, and I was I actually cut some of the grass there a little bit because I was looking for my
Okay.
frisbee. So I know what it's like. So
Okay.
it's fine. We got big mutt fruit, so we can.
It would just be what's adjacent in the park, that's what you're talking about, just in the bank?
Yeah, just the banks. Yeah, the banks
Yeah.
in the park.
Then we always have that one over here done as well.
Yeah, well, we can happily
do
do
that
that too.
yeah.
We can.
Yeah, he does park down the river from 40 all the way back over here to Delaware and then right over here.
Yeah, and then over
This
here.
side, by guardrail over here by
Yeah, okay.
the old
Yeah.
car wash.
Okay. Yeah.
It would be nice to have it
That needs to,
for people that's in the park and
It does open it up. It really
playing
does.
golf, they can see
Yeah,
the river.
it does open it up. You can see all the way through there now.
Yeah.
Plus, we're getting rid of some of them older trees from.
Yeah.
And it's really opened it up.
Yeah.
Sherry, has that been budgeted for this? Is that part of the, I mean, as far as that expense, if you've done it once a year, if you've done it?
We take it from several funds. I mean, we usually do general and edit, I think I said. Yeah, so we'll take it from several funds.
A related topic, real quick, I got a citizen mentioned there's a board missing from the bridge that goes towards,
The footbridge, yes.
there's just a
We'll get that.
one 2x4.
Yes.
And the problem was the bolts, I couldn't get them out, so, or couldn't, I didn't have a
Get
good
it
one.
on. Get it.
Okay.
Take care of it tomorrow. Our truck.
It's been.
So,
If you wanted to do it, I think it'd be nice to do it now. Do it now versus wait till another month or so, and then
It's taller.
do it sooner than later if we're wanting to do it.
I'd get a quote into Joe as soon as possible.
Okay.
to-
We can do that.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, see you good.
Get your number. Or... Yes, I can do.
Yeah. All right. If you come stop in the mall. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, moving on, we have Eric Marsh and Ken House.
Good evening, Mr. President. Ken Pouse, 3411 Dorothy Lane, Richmond, Indiana. I'm currently the president of WCTV, and as all of you know, House Bill 1167 is going to start in a month here. And through WCTV, we've been able to do broadcasting for several years now throughout. And Eric Mark, who's been our director since 2009, has done an outstanding job in building WCTV over the years. We're fortunate that we have 3 community channels, Channel 11, Channel 20, and Channel 21. As you are full aware, I think, is that the funding that we receive has come from the city of Richmond and from the county, basically is the funding. Comcast is shrinking as more and more streaming is coming on board every day. So the amount of money that the city as well as the county is receiving has been reduced the last several years. It's been reduced to a point of where WCTV has had to make major changes to our operation. Basically, we've had to cut staff back to meet the amount of money that we have available to us. Basically, we've reduced staff about 50% at this point. And we're in the project now of working with the city of Richmond to increase the funding that they give to WCTV. And that should be approved. Common Council approved that 8-0, with one person being absent. So we anticipate that we will be getting additional funding from that. So we've been working to see what we could do in the outlying areas with towns like yourself as to how we could help you meet the requirements of House Bill 1167. The more we looked at this, it was obvious to us that we can no longer continue to do everything free as we have done in the past. So we've done studies on what our costs are, what the new equipment is. As a matter of fact, we are streaming you live tonight, and we're testing some of the new equipment that we've already purchased to be able to supply the requirements that you're going to have to comply with on there. I brought with me tonight Eric Marsh, who is our director, and he knows all this technical stuff, and I'll be first to tell you, you gotta ask him the question, you know. He knows the answers to that, but we have brought a proposal to you this evening as to what we would be able to do, and Eric will go through each of these steps on here as to how that will comply with 1167. Eric?
Sorry, I'm actually trying to watch your stream to see how it's going. We're actually trying out the equipment as we have. I know you all have been interested. Obviously, this is something that we have done here in Cambridge City for almost a decade now, at no charge, as Ken has mentioned. We would provide equipment like we always have. We come in with a camera, a tripod. There is an additional piece of equipment that is actually attached to that would do the live streaming out for us right now, the same way what I'm watching on my phone right now is actually streaming out to YouTube right now. There is a lag, obviously, and part of that is because we're using Wi-Fi. One of the points of the agreement is that you would supply us with a wired internet connection. That would give us the type of bandwidth that we need so that we could actually continue with the type of streaming that we've been able to do in the city of Richmond, as an example. All of the meetings that we do for the city of Richmond are actually live streamed out to YouTube as they are happening. But it takes bandwidth to be able to do that, and doing it on Wi-Fi doesn't work very well. There's a horrible lag, and you can tell even from that. But it is going out, even on the Wi-Fi. So the wired internet connection would give us what we need. We'd work with your town clerk because obviously there are memos and other attachments that need to go. Your agenda needs to be part of what we're putting up. So we would work with your clerk to make sure that we have that information. And the meetings would continue to be housed on our YouTube channel, where your residents are used to seeing them now. We would still send them to that same location, so that would not change. We would still also pull your meetings off and continue to air those on WGTV Channel 11. So there's nothing right now that you would be losing with this from what we have been providing on a free basis. You would still get someone who knows what they're doing with the equipment. We would still be responsible for the equipment as we have been in the past. You would be responsible for providing the wired internet connection. And then, of course, the price. Questions?
So $6,600 a year minimum, and
Yes.
extra.
And that would cover your meeting every month as we have been. We don't look at our watches.
All right,
We
no
won't
matter how
look at our
long,
watch.
right? Okay.
You run your meeting the way you need to run your meeting. We will continue to do what we have been doing, which is sending a person out, recording that meeting, make it available to the community, but also keep you legal in that we would be live streaming that meeting. In the past, we've recorded them. They have aired the following night. These would be live. They would still air, but right now you would meet the law.
So they would air and live stream, and so like people would see them later in the month too, or
People would see them later in the month also, yes. And they would be able to see them on our YouTube channel as they can now. They would be able to see them on WGTV Channel 11 as they can now. Difference would be if you're not in the room at the time the meeting's happening, you would still have a chance to see the meeting. And YouTube is available, obviously, phones, tablet, television app, all over.
those additional meetings that are 125 per hour. Is that viewing hours, or is that your office to office here? Does that include that?
That's our office to office back and forth.
So it's not just
Correct. We have to pay our staff, and we have to be able to do that.
Okay, so we'll take this under consideration, is that the plan?
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to take it under consideration
So you
for now.
compare it with any other options you
Yeah.
have too.
We have been working on other options, right?
Yeah.
So, that's the,
Is there a timeline that you have to know an answer from all the communities, or else it can't go forward?
July 1. July 1 is the date, obviously. Your meeting is a week later. If you all need us here, let us know. You all know how to reach me. You can also reach Ken Paust, who is our board chair. If there are other questions, feel free to reach out to us. Sherry knows how to reach us also, and we'd be happy to answer any additional questions that you might have.
Well, July 1's a legal deadline, but if they could configure something else for one meeting, it is possible. They could do that one way and still get into your contract later too.
Sure.
So it's not a drop dead from your standpoint, as far as if we don't sign it by 1, you're not going to do it for us.
If you don't sign by 1, we're not going to do it, but if you have another way of covering your meeting,
For that one meeting,
That one meeting.
you'd still be susceptible or acceptable to do a contract right after that too, if they couldn't decide by then.
Yes.
Like if they couldn't decide until the July 1 meeting.
yes. Without a doubt, yes. And we understand it's late, but obviously you understand from the news that we've had some conversations that we've had to do to even see if we would be able to offer this to you.
I'm curious, is this is the cost similar to all the towns, or is it based on population, or what do you, how are
The
you-
cost is similar to all of the towns.
to all towns and the city of Richmond?
City of Richmond is a different entity.
Okay. But all the towns are the same?
Yes. But I think, and most of them are down to the one meeting per month.
I don't know if I can speak for the council, but I think we appreciate public television and the opportunity to have this done. The question is, of course, we have budget concerns both this year and we're getting hit by similar issues statewide for next year.
We all are, yes. The state is keeping 20% of the franchise fees also, so that is also going to hit us also.
So we could brand, have some advertising on the behind this. just ask. I know this is a public facility.
If it raises money.
Never mind.
If that becomes a serious question that you want to ask,
Yes, it probably
yes,
is.
there are ways that things could be worked out. If there is a business that wants to sponsor your meeting, there are things that we could begin to figure out.
Banners.
Well, we prefer not to go quite that far. We still like to do it in a professional looking manner.
Moving
But
lights.
We would definitely work something out.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Yes.
We didn't mention, we'll archive everything for 90 days also, which is in the law, so we have to maintain all of that.
I'm curious, one thing you said, Kate, was all this came about because of the lack of funding from the city and the county maybe. I thought, isn't IU involved in that too? Wasn't there funding cut from IU? That didn't have anything to do with it?
IU has no involvement. Prior to this, all of our employees were IU East employees, and we leased them back. And so our payroll ran a little over $25,000 per month on payroll. And then we occupied space in IU East is what we did.
Which you're no longer doing, or?
Well, we currently are still located in the same location. We're looking at all the options that are available to us.
Okay. Well, we will take this under advisement, and I'm sure you'll be hearing from us. We'll probably have some questions in the next month, and so we do know how to get hold of you, Eric. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, thank you much.
Thank you.
A side quick question. Are you open to having a studio in any part of the county? Or you believe you should be in the center, population-wise?
Suppose we look at anything. Yeah,
But there is equipment issues and power and things like that. Okay.
right.
Right. Just a quick question. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Set it for guests. All right, moving on to unfinished business. Progress report on ongoing blighted properties. I see the spreadsheet here, right? And we also had a couple complaint forms as well.
Yeah. So I'll give you all a copy.
Are these properties actually on the list already?
The one is, isn't it? The first one at 214 South 4th should be on there already, but this other one is a new one.
Yeah, the South Fourth, with
Is it on here?
those properties,
Yeah, it
yes,
is.
they did come in and pay their one fine. It was better. I drove past there today. There's stuff sitting out front again, or out in front of the garage. Just from the past, I'm trying to come up with a better approach to see
Do you
if that would
suppose-
work versus this over and over. It just seems that it's not working over the years, is what I'm getting at, I guess.
But what may be a mess to us may not be to
Exactly,
them.
exactly.
So maybe,
I'm trying to come up with, think of something to, a better approach. I guess that's, for lack of a better word, to address them and see how they, I understand it's their property, but we do have an ordinance on, for the town, and it's an eyesore. And obviously, and with the complaints that have come in, it needs to be addressed. And with that, there's a lot of that going on to Mr. Miller's property back there too, through that easement that we have, the right-of-way easement back behind them. So it's gonna have to be addressed. I'm trying to come up with a better approach to see if that would work better than what's worked in the past, or what hasn't worked in the
Is
past.
there anything specific in the ordinance that would help clarify?
It's
you
pretty
currently
clear.
have? It's pretty clear.
It's pretty clear in the
Well,
ordinance.
as much as possible, we need to follow the ordinance.
Right, exactly. So with 4th Street, it needs cleaned up. Then those first 3 houses right there in that block, I can understand their frustration. I really can. So the house right there on 3rd and Jones, that is sheriff's sale, which the person that bought it can't touch it till October. That did get mowed last week and cleaned up. The one on Main, that got mowed last week while I was
We got
gone.
mowed last week.
The home on Parkway, the 310 Parkway, got with county treasurer. They had a different address than we had, so I sent that certified mail to them before I went on vacation last week. Have not gotten anything back on that yet. What I do know is the taxes have not been paid since 23. So a few more days we should be able to do this.
Down.
Yeah.
Still on the still. We were kind of targeting.
Yeah, that back side of that house, we put a piece of plywood up over the door. The front door, the roof is collapsed in. It's a hazard. The garage, the whole property is.
So we declared that one a safety hazard at this point, or?
I would
It's
now.
definitely-
It's definitely
Definitely.
safety hazard.
Do we know how long that's been uninhabited?
I know the last 3 years it has been.
It's been a
I
while.
mean, it's no one.
No, it's been a while.
Because that's a different process, right, Bob? If we declare it
Different, yeah,
unsafe.
that's different than the unsightliness. So have you sent that initial warning letter for the
Yes,
unsafe
they'll
building?
know that it is
But
unsafe.
we don't know if they've got
But
it.
I don't.
You don't know
I
if they've got it.
sent it certified, registered mail, so they would have signed for it. I've not gotten anything back. That was
And was that the warning, or was that the you designating that it?
no, that was the warning
That was
because
the warning.
the address that I had was not what the county
Had
assessor
the
had
address.
on it. So I sent a second new
I got you.
letter to give them that warning.
Well, let's see
That
what
we-
happens, then
yes.
go to the next step as far as you
Right.
actually citing them and having it required set for hearings.
Yes.
Okay. Because we have funds until the end of the year. You said.
Now, the property that Longnecker tore down by the liquor store,
Yeah.
that has not been mowed.
We don't own that.
We don't own that right now, right?
No.
That's not
we
town's
don't own it.
property.
Well,
That's,
Is that on-
the county, that's the one that the county,
Yeah.
it was paid funds to tear down the burnt house.
Oh,
House next.
but what we need to do is go back and try to recover those funds
Yeah.
from the property owner. At this point, right?
I think that's right.
And if she doesn't want it, then she gives it to us? Is that how it works?
Well, if they don't pay it, ultimately can come back to you because you'll acquire a lien on it for any costs that you have on it. But there's a process for you to go about that, but we need to initiate that if we haven't.
We haven't.
I know.
We haven't.
And that's on Longnecker?
No,
No, that's
he's
who
the
tore
one
it
that
down.
He's the
tore it
one that tore
down.
it
down.
It's,
What's the address?
is it on here?
Oh,
West Main.
West Main. It's not on here.
400 block.
411, I want to say.
402.
402, I'm thinking 402.
402 West Main, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's right, I think.
Is that one though that was part of our grant and they paid for it?
Yes.
So it's real, so we're not out of it yet.
No, we're not.
No.
'Cause
What
we got
they're
rid-
expecting us to do is go back and try to recover those funds. If we do, then it goes back to the fund.
Okay, so we're really recovering it to reimburse the grant.
To go back into the blight fund
Right.
to enforce others.
Should be on this pack.
I think they mentioned I had to go through 2 tax cycles somehow.
Before all goes, assuming the person doesn't just.
Yes.
Right.
Which is a pretty safe assumption.
And then the house up on Westview, Mr. Vanover, I did contact him to let him know that that needs to be mowed and weeded. He says he is going to fix that and sell it, is what he has told myself and Sherry. We have his phone number in there, but nothing has been yet. So he's got a few more days before I send him a fine on
Good
that.
luck to him, because just going in there with a lawnmower and going through
Do
the,
it.
I heard a line there.
I've mowed it the last 3 years, so it needs, we're gonna have to do something with that. Or he's gonna have to do something with that. It's pretty bad.
It's real bad.
The rest of these they're staying up on it. A few of them are will have to be addressed again. Maybe some fine letters go out for a couple of these, but as far as that, it's they're trying to stay up on it anyway, and I am.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate the diligence.
This is very hard.
19 was it?
Okay,
No, that's when it was up here. My Baba house was up right here.
moving on to the update on the Wi-Fi in the park camera grant, further discussion of park hours. I can give you an update on the Wi-Fi. We did not get the grant from the Wayne County Foundation, but they did. That's the bad news, but the good news is they asked us to, if there was any way we could attach this to the Lilly Gift 8 grant that we're getting. I spoke to Acacia at the foundation about that, and she believes there is a way we can attach that. What she's looking for is updated quotes, and I think what we're going to be able to do is maybe piggyback onto that grant and still be able to make something happen. We do have a meeting, I do Wednesday with Tailored Systems to get their quote. They came in and went through the park and everything. The one thing we'll have to do is include a camera up at the new performance venue as part of it as well, so that helps attach that into the Lilly Gift 8. So
And she said she needed a print from you. She sent you a message.
yeah, and we have one in the.
Okay.
We could send her. I want to get it here today. So,
Okay. All right.
yeah. So that's where that stands. So it sounds like we may have an opportunity still, and we just need to. I think Jim said.
Sensor.
Yeah. So we'll get a new updated quote from them as well, right?
Yeah, they submitted a first quote and we'll get an update. Yep.
So I think when we have that, we can move forward, and if that all goes through the Lilly, actually it'll probably be a lot quicker to get the money and get going on it. So
Well, we partnered with the Chamber and Main Street on the downtown Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they still can't get it up because Jake Brower owns the one building and has not gave his approval. So there still has not been
the updated Wi-Fi.
updated Wi-Fi. Rob's been trying to get him to.
Has he not been able to talk to Jake, or has Jake just agreed?
Well, Alan came in, Alan Austin, and I was telling him, he called Jake, and Jake said he would get a hold of Rob, but it hasn't happened yet.
We'll wait for Handy, so.
I'll follow up.
So,
Okay.
Shouldn't be that difficult.
Okay.
Oh, further discussion of park hours. What do we need to do there?
I just had tabled it because Richard was saying our signs are different than what.
Yeah, I thought we were just gonna make our signs consistent with what the code said.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then the update on the sale of property on South Walnut Street.
I'm still waiting on the two bids from appraisers. I thought we'd better have two people that would give us a quote on what it's gonna cost to appraise that property, which is the requirement in order to go forward with the public sale.
Okay.
And that's probably what Charlie wants, right? Okay, all right.
And do we
We
need
don't need,
more discussion on the live streaming? No.
Well, do we? I mean,
Well-
what are you gonna do before July 1st?
yeah, right.
Your next meeting's gonna come after the deadline.
So I've been kind of looking into what it would take to broadcast on YouTube ourselves, and there is more to it than I thought.
There's a lot.
But
Because if we're talking about contract negotiations, we could have an executive meeting before the end of the month.
Yeah.
You wanted to talk about that or any other options?
yeah, we might need to do that because we'll need to take that.
That's
Because for us to do it on our own, we'd have to buy a camera, but there's other equipment you have to live stream as well.
Okay.
And so there are more costs than expected, I think. And
There's no one that was to get caught with their hand
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. so I'd say let's get the rest of that cost and then maybe have an executive meeting later in the month and talk it through.
Okay.
Advisory Plan Commission report, I don't think we have.
Well,
Yeah, I attended the planning commission meeting and they did get one bid for redoing your planning zoning map and the zoning ordinance, $37,500. They had asked for 3 different ones, but I think only one came back in unless another one came in or you were.
No,
Came in.
That was my understanding.
Yeah. And so I discussed with them what council had talked at the last meeting, which was if money was no object, sure, why not do this? But with money being an object, I raised some questions that, like I had done similarly here at the council meeting, that, how much do you want to spend? Do you need the Cadillac? I fear that what this new zoning ordinance zoning map would be something good for a town the size of Indianapolis, size of Richmond, but I'm fearful they would be much more in detail than the town of Cambridge City would ever need. Number 2, I'm not sure, somebody's gonna have to convince me that there's been a business that hasn't come here or a housing development that hasn't been built just because of your current zoning ordinance. It is not the cure-all. It may be as part of what the town needs going forward, but I don't think having a new zoning ordinance is then magically everything's gonna just be hunky-dory again for the town. So now I say all these things just to keep in perspective of, is this the best place to spend $37,500? I then also ended with what I had always hesitated because it might look self-serving, was that I feel like what does this really entail? It entails getting some input from the public, which you did do through your master plan, and I'm also not sure how much public input. If you everybody come in and tell us what you want in our zoning ordinance, I'm not sure they're going to be lined out the door. It's not like annexation of a possible area. So it's doing that. It's listening to what the town council wants as far as what area should this be zoned at, what should this area be zoned at, and then it's ultimately writing the ordinance. Well, that's what I do for a living. And so I feel like I could do this for almost a fourth of the cost for $10,000 if you really feel like you need to update, which you probably do, your town ordinance, especially for the town limits. It has recently been updated. I was just comparing your ordinance or your code for your 2-mile fringe is about 157 pages, and the one for the town is like 40 some pages. So it is much more detailed. I think we just need to update in the town limit ordinance to the same as your 2-mile fringe. I think would accomplish an awful lot. Plus, hear some people look at the zoning map, see what can be done to change some things that you want. I'm not sure it needs to be a cost of $37,500. But anyway, I say it makes no difference to me, but I just wanted to offer something if that was the need, and I always want to try to help the town if I can, so I just threw that on the table. Planning Commission appreciated that. I think they still have a couple different opinions on, can't we still go forward with $37,500? Should we go something with the less on 9 with $10,000? they ultimately came down to say, well, what does council want to, is council just not wanting to spend a dime? Are they willing to consider the 10? Are they still willing to consider getting the 37.5 from some source? I know you guys wanted to be able to compare apples with apples, and so that's why they did go ahead, and you guys authorized the solicitation of the bids. Well, they got the one for the 37.5. So it's now kind of back into your hands as to where do you want to go from here?
I did talk to Jill briefly about about the meeting as well, as well as some other ones, because I was sick and was unable to attend. But and in the last conversation I had, I feel like, and I guess they scheduled another meeting for July,
First.
which I think is the right thing to do, because I think what we got to figure out is what are we trying to accomplish with this, right? But I think there's some other questions that have to come up too. You know, for instance, say we don't want to spend a 37.5, and you can help us. So my question then is going to be, where do those funds come? Do we pull those funds from the same place that we were going to pull them from to pay the other contractors that come from a different bucket that we didn't budget for? So I think those are kind of questions that need
Well, right
answers.
now you've got 30,000 budgeted for this year out of edit, but that doesn't mean that's what you have to spend. You can still alter that if other needs come up this year because of the fact of potentially losing all of those funds for future years.
Yeah. But those are the kinds of things I think we need to look at
Absolutely.
to make the decision, you know. I don't know. Any thoughts from anybody else on council on it?
One thought is that when we did the master plan, we actually had professional services help to do that, because the town council itself, and I would venture a guess that you may not have a background in urban and regional planning or
No.
And so
I couldn't about to begin to do a master plan.
as probably we can't either. Just like the last meeting, we had to come up with something about, I forgot what topic it was, and we're not one of those skill sets either. So that's why we use these experts. I think the primary purpose, in my opinion, of doing this is up to update ordinances, and I do think that's a relatively straightforward thing, and so that's a good idea. Maybe doing it at a specific cost, but I think what the expert would do with us is help us understand future. We have very little open land in Cambridge City, and we're very bound by, maybe out to the fringe we're not, but within the town limits we are bound. And we have mixed use residential and industrial zoned areas, and I think part of the study would have been to have someone who has skills in this area to give us advice on how we might change our zoning or adjust it or add to it somehow. If we can't afford it, then that's one issue, and I support that. But if we can afford it or should afford it, should we have an expert help us, maybe for a cost, and then a cost to actually change the ordinances? Maybe there's a two-way approach to this. But I don't know if that person would want to do that. I'm sure they're going to want to do the whole thing.
I would suspect so, but I don't know.
But I don't know either. And so maybe the meeting on the 1st could examine some of these things. I'm not sure. Maybe there's a compromise. And I think the council has to figure out if we do believe there is an issue to be solved other than simply updating ordinances. And somebody has to convince us of that. And I know we have a few members on the council that are on that commission. I think one's not here tonight, and we have 2 others. So be good to hear maybe a concerted position after the 1st at our next meeting.
Although, would you anticipate, if they just meet alone without having that consultant in or talk to them about that?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know what they're.
Maybe they could invite that person to provide insight.
And give reasons why. Why is this?
Or why not?
Yeah.
Because again, none of us are experts. So.
But I got the feeling, and correct me if you or anybody else is wrong, that they didn't want to go forward with that. If council really was of the opinion, we don't have any money spent this year at all. Sure. Let's not waste our time. But I'm not saying you're there or should be there at all, but I just got the feeling they kind of wanted some direction as far as what do you want them to do next.
Okay. And I heard the same. That's a good thing to get our opinion and position on that, I think, as a collective. So we could do that at the next meeting.
Well, except your next meeting's gonna come after their meeting.
Executive.
Oh, at the executive.
Could we do it at the executive committee or not? Or does it need to be public?
Is that going to be?
That's not considered probably a bit more.
Probably not.
Okay, that's fine. Well, the committee can make a recommendation, and we can consider it on the next meeting.
I think we can say as a council, I mean, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we're dead set against spending any money on this project. I think we all want some kind of something done, at least I do. But, you know, I do think there's reasons to be cautious, obviously, with, you know, with the way the money's being distributed at this point. But, you know, I don't think the correct thing is to go back to them and say, we don't want to spend a dime. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm the only one that feels that way.
No, I would agree with you.
I agree with that too. It's just the timing is terrible right now.
I think
in
money-
spending that money.
I think money needs to be spent, but we've got a lot of other needs, and we've got financial issues that we need to consider, and we need to look at cost saving. I'm not saying it doesn't need to be done.
It's a priority issue. I mean, what's the priority behind it? Because the money spending is not going to get better next year or the year after until.
But I hear daily of things breaking down.
Yeah,
So,
just the practicalities of your issues.
so I think as a council, we should think, we have 10 things to do. Where is this on that priority list?
Yeah, and I think that's what one of the members of the Plan Commission was pretty succinct about. Okay, we do this, what's going to change? What is it's cost benefit analysis. We'll do this, then what's going to happen? Where's our immediate benefit to having done this compared to buying a new piece of equipment, fixing a new piece of equipment, installing a new item that you can see that benefit immediately. He was just concerned about where, and he said it's fine if somebody can show me that immediate benefit from having this in place, and somebody just needs to answer that.
Right.
And, you know, personally, I think it needs to be done. I want to do it. It just depends, you know, how much we're going to spend on it. I think that might be just the big decision, because we have to do it. I think.
I agree with that too.
It creates a plan for growth as well.
Yes.
And the question is, if we don't do it, does it impact that plan of growth? I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, I think the three members that are on that board can come to the next meeting, and, you know, and express the feelings of the board at this point, so. And,
Yes, because anything the Plan Commission does do will be a recommendation, and you guys still have it.
Right.
Well, that'd be good. If all three of you could be at that Plan Commission meeting, express the consensus of this council, I think would be very wise.
yeah,
You know.
I plan on being there,
Great, good.
providing I don't get sick.
Sick again.
No more, no more.
What appointment's that day?
Okay, well, thank you, Bob. Update on masonry.
I talked to both contractors. They're both using type N mortar. The price difference, if you guys still have these in front of you, the quotes. I think some of it is, some of the price difference is the color match, but they're using the same type material.
It's a bag of color.
Yeah.
It costs
I don't-
$50.
Right. So, but they're both using the same type. If they need to throw in some lime, they can do that to make it, to get what they need when they get up there and see what's actually going on.
We didn't have a chance to talk about it. I think at the last meeting we discussed, we would talk about.
Yeah, I got what they were gonna use, because we wanted to see what type
That's
of
right.
compound they were using, so it is both of them are using type N. So,
Now, because there's such a big price difference between the two quotes,
Yes.
you just, I don't understand why.
I still would like to discuss this because, again, type N does not work with soft brick. And I'd like, if they say it does, I believe they are wrong. And we need to,
yeah. That's just what they told me when I called both of them, so.
No, and I understand why they would recommend that, that's what they work with, so. But it doesn't work on soft brick in the long term.
And in,
Type N is a hard mortar that is harder than the brick it's going in to serve. So what breaks is the brick in the future, not the mortar. And what you have is then you have the brick spalling and breaking. And the mortar's still there, mortar looks good, but the bricks don't. And that would happen over probably within a number of years.
Yep.
It wouldn't be a decade or two, it'd be measurable number of years, small number.
Right.
That's
There is a seal that can be sprayed on over that and to help combat that, keep moisture out.
It also keeps moisture in.
Yes.
Which is the bad, that's the.
Yes, that's the bad part. That's why the bricks are breaking. It's from the moisture getting inside.
Yeah, because I haven't
I
talked,
know more about it.
I'd like, I would be glad to speak for them. That's what I would recommend.
so put it on the July agenda.
And we still have plenty of time unless they don't have schedule available.
They have nothing, they're aware of that, it was coming back to you guys, if that's what your question was. So if you want to further that conversation with them, I'm sure they'd be open to talking about that.
Okay, great, I'll do that.
Okay, thank you. On to new business, approval for a $200 donation from Chicago Pizza.
Yeah, they, what was it for the,
I did a Dine to Donate night during Police Week.
that's right.
I'll make a motion, we accept the $200 donation from Chicago Pizza to the police department.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve the $200 donation from Chicago Pizza to the police department. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And then we also have a framed picture from Dennis Whistler. It's a plat of the town. Is this it?
That's it.
Hold that up so I can see it on TV.
I make a motion, we accept the framed picture donated from Dennis Whistler.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the plat map from Dennis Whistler to be posted somewhere in this city building here. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that is an original, we can use that in the zoning. Yeah. It's a great thing. I do have something else for new business.
Do what?
I have something else for new business, or I could wait.
Okay.
Or
This is
afterwards.
DACA emails. Did you look at that one sent to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we need, we don't need to do anything.
No.
So,
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that.
All right. All right, Jim, you got something else on new business?
Yes, Smith, forgot his name. Radiator Smith.
Tony.
Tony. I'm thinking of Jerry, that's his father. Tony Smith came to see me. He asked if I would bring to the board or the council the offer to replace the flagpole in Capitol Cemetery.
Capitol Hill.
Capitol Hill Cemetery. The American Legion is involved in it and a couple other groups to donate the pole, the flag. The one thing they need from us or Joe, for you to consider is the removal of the existing pole. And if we could pull the existing concrete and pole out, they would then pour and put in the new pole. And
In the same hole,
I believe so. Don't know the answer to that.
we should be, I'd have to go up and look at it, make sure, but should be able to get it.
And if we were in support of it, it was to actually ask you then to review it and consider it.
Yeah, we can put a flagpole up.
I mean, they could put it up too, but they were just asking for that first,
First,
using a
just has to
backhoe.
take it out, yeah. Okay, yeah, I'll look at it, it shouldn't be a problem.
And it doesn't have to be right away. They're just
Okay.
at some point.
Jeremiah had went to a crime watch meeting and they asked who had the keys to the gate because they couldn't get back into the cemetery during the holiday.
Memorial Day.
For Memorial Day service.
All the employees have one,
Okay.
to that master lock.
Okay.
Yes, we did. They wanting to drive up in there?
I guess.
Because they can walk around the post and or
Yeah.
it could.
And that's what they did. I just happened to be driving by when they were there, but there was a whole line of cars, and it was kind of hard for them to turn back around, come
It
back.
is very tight up there. Yes, it is. Okay, yep.
Yeah, it is.
But from a consensus standpoint on the flagpole, do we have to vote on that?
We probably need a
Because
motion
it'd be a
to
donation, right?
to allow that donation for the flagpole.
Do we want to wait to get Joe's opinion first? And
I can
then,
look at it tomorrow.
We could do it pending his.
Yes, you can approve it pending his
I'd say
sign
let's,
off.
let's get a motion to it pending his.
I make a motion to approve the offer to donate a new flagpole. I think there'll be I don't know if there'll be a plaque or there's already a plaque there, and a new flag, pending your support for that.
Second. All right, we have a motion, a second to accept donation of a flagpole and flag to the Capitol Hill Cemetery, pending Joe's review of
And
it.
from from exactly what organization?
It's actually, well,
person or?
the American Legion is involved, but it's a person that is leading the effort.
It's from Tony Smith.
Tony
that's
Smith.
leading that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it would be, I think 2 or 3 organizations are involved.
Oh, this will include the light, is a solar light or something on the top.
It's got to be lit at all times. Yes. I did ask him that, and that's the case.
Okay.
I think that's part of the cost of the pole.
Okay.
So it's Tony Smith and the American Legion?
Well, it's Tony Smith organizing it. The volunteers or
Paying
donor
for it.
groups include the American Legion.
Okay. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Thanks, Jim. Anything else? All right, staff reports. Town Marshal, Dylan, you're filling in. I take
Dylan's
it.
town marshal, right?
Just Dylan. I think Richard sent you guys an email, and if you had a moment to review that. The first thing was some complaints about some speeding vehicles and semis using Jake brakes in the area of Mulberry and Maine. We have spent a tremendous amount of time sitting down there. I will note that I'm not saying that nothing's happening. I did stop a car, or a motorcycle, excuse me, for 50 some right there in front of that residence that's been complaining. He was issued a citation and understood that he doesn't need to be going that fast on a motorcycle through town. Does anyone have any questions on that first one?
I also have received concerns from some of the vendors downtown, especially during events, of how fast and how loud people are going through town, coming very close to pedestrians. I think that happens quite a bit, whether on purpose or not. I'm sure it's not on purpose, but just I'm not suggesting that there needs to be something done about that. Just to be
Right.
aware during our events how safe we need to be.
Yeah, so I know during times where like the interstate shut down and there's semis through there, just like the other day, Richard and I spent a lot of time on Main Street. Usually our presence keeps semis, below where they need to be at. And then during events, we try to make sure we have a presence too.
And I know you do. I just have heard a few.
Right, absolutely.
So do we need an ordinance for Jake brakes? Or, I mean, is that something, do you already? I don't know if
Is that a
we have any
noise
signs or anything up. No, I don't believe we do.
Yeah, so I searched our ordinances and the word noise is actually in there, I think 22 times. And there's nothing in there that I think would be applicable to a semi Jake brake. And Bob would probably be able to answer this more, but even if I think there's a noise ordinance, I don't think we can initiate a traffic stop on behalf of that, right?
If we posted no Jake brakes, no.
Yeah,
Jake
I've
brake.
gone through towns that I've seen signs.
I've seen
Several
that, but I'm not sure we have an ordinance on
Yeah,
I
that
don't think we
specific
do. I don't think we do.
action.
I
It's
just
probably
talked
just a
about
general
this before.
noise.
Yeah.
Because where is it happening? As they come down by the library?
Yeah, so on both ends of town, on the east end, on the west end. So when they're coming down the hill on the east end of town, and then when they're also passing like Hilltop, stuff like that, they're using their Jake brake. But I don't know if it's a habitual enough issue where
Is that
it
gonna
needs to be a
solve
ordinance or not. But
it? Yeah.
Yeah, if you wanted to be able to enforce it like you're thinking, it'd be part of your traffic code, and I don't think it's there. So it's probably just, and I can put something together if you guys want to consider it.
Well, we have a lot of apartments and stuff downtown. I know we had complaints a year or so back.
Around noise.
Yeah. the
Maybe we
noise.
should have an ordinance in place about it.
Specifically about noise or?
Well, we have an ordinance on noise.
The brakes.
I just don't think the ordinance that we have on noise from what I read isn't applicable to.
I thought it was like
vehicles.
loud music.
Yeah, it'd be like for like loud music at someone's
Yeah.
home, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Indiana code covers, vehicles with mufflers, stuff like that. It has to be there, and used to muffle the noise from the engine.
But then how would you know it was that semi? If
Yeah, it'd be
there's a
hard
wreck
to
on
enforce.
70 and
It
there,
would
You'd
be
have to be
very,
sitting there.
very hard.
Yeah, real hard to enforce.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think, no person shall operate or permit the operation of any sound producing or sound amplification device on any vehicle on the streets, alleys, or parks without the written consent of the president and town council. So Jim could give them permission.
he could carry that boombox, right?
But I'm not sure those brakes should be a sound producing or sound amplification device on vehicles.
I don't think so.
But there is I think I'm the only one on Main Street. There is a lot of loud motorcycle music these days, which is
Yeah.
interesting. It's fun for them. But I don't know about the rest of us, especially on Sunday mornings. So, but again, it's not cumbersome. It's not overwhelming. Just once in a while.
Right. And I would say that, an issue like that is, a temporary thing too. They drive by, it's annoying, frustrating, but I don't know if there's really,
They're not looking in
enforceable action.
January. So which is-
Yeah, but I definitely see the frustration, on anyone that lives on Main Street, to
But-
have to listen to it.
they're not just sitting there doing it. They're not having a party right in front of
Right.
somebody's house. They're just going through.
That would fall into the other section. That was about sound amplification. And this is, no person, again, without the written consent of the president and town council, shall operate or permit the maintenance or operation in or on any building, premises, or public streets or alleys within the town by a radio device, mechanical music or instrument or device, or any device for the amplification of sound whereby the sound emitted is cast directly into the public street or parks, either for the purpose of advertising in any form or for the purpose of drawing or attracting the attention of the public, or which is so placed and operated that the sounds emitted can be heard to the annoyance or inconvenience of the public on the streets or in the public parks or the persons in the neighboring premises. So if it got extreme, you could make effort to that, and they could be fined.
So my plan for a honky tonk bar downtown is
Yeah.
I have to get that approved.
But yeah, none of those are the two
I could
noise,
approve it.
those are the two noise codes, and,
People like honky tonk.
so you want a break ordinance or not?
I don't know.
What do you
I
think?
mean, relative to people who choose to live on 40 or next to 40, don't that kind of come with the territory? I mean,
With the traffic, yeah.
it just,
You get used
you
to
just tune it out. I lived on 27 for 20 years and you just tune it out. I don't see that it's
That's true.
a horrible problem.
I think we should collect, if we get more comments, I think we should worry about it. I think for now, we're good with our ordinances.
I think,
I don't know if
I
that's an
think-
opinion, but
I agree. We're good.
thank you for that first item.
Yeah. And then the second item, unless anyone has any questions on the first one.
Yeah.
Good. And then the second item was Seth is wanting to go to the Canine Hits Conference, and that's going to be in August. And Richard said that there's some money in our donation that's set aside specifically for this. Council just needs to approve. At your pleasure, of course.
In the canine donation fund, there's $5,798.
We approved it last year, right?
I think you went to.
I wasn't here, but
Yeah, where'd it go last year? New Orleans, maybe? Somewhere.
He said it was in Texas again.
Oh
so
yeah,
I'll
that's
say
what. That was my
Texas.
second guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, we approved it last year.
Yeah, we did.
Or was I here last year? Where was I?
You were here. You might have been.
Because I remember the
Yes.
discussion. Okay,
Yes.
sorry. Short term memory.
Yeah, but we don't know where it is this year.
It's in Texas. Again.
Anytime we listen to news, though.
Sorry. I would support that.
I think that's great. Send
Yeah,
on
I think I
vacation.
would too.
So we got,
Is that a
do we have a
motion?
motion?
I make a motion to approve
Yeah.
the funds to be spent on a canine.
Jesse?
I'll second. Okay,
Conference.
second. Third.
You can second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve Seth's attendance to the canine convention.
Conference.
And for those funds to come from that
Okay.
fund as noted. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. That's all we've got from the town marshal.
Thanks. Good job, Dylan.
Thank you, Dylan.
Thanks, Dylan.
Fire chief is not present.
Trax is.
You taking that? Got anything for us?
Everything's ready for the fireworks. Everything's going to go there. And for the car show the following day, we'd like to close the street behind the fire station.
We approved that.
And then a reminder just to
Move cars.
no cars in my structure on the next one.
Okay, so we have July 5th as the firework, and then July 6th is the rain out day, right?
Yeah, and the car
So-
show will be that day too.
Okay,
We'll make it work if we have to.
yep, okay. And they did approve from, was it from the entrance into the bowl to the first residence?
Yeah.
For the closing? Okay,
Okay.
Are they having a DJ or something there for the fireworks, you know?
they're trying, but they haven't come up with anything. Jim, have you heard? Because at the last chamber
Just
meeting.
know that Charles is not doing it anymore.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
not doing it, but do you know how to spin records?
I got a phone. We can use a phone.
That's all I need, one more thing to do. I was just wondering, because they could make an announcement that night, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As well, but we'll try and follow up and see.
We'll make it work regardless.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Along that line, if you haven't been by the fire department today, they've got steel going up back there now, so.
Yeah.
I noticed they were forming a sidewalk along Green Street as well, so there's really a lot of activity going on back there.
When's it supposed to be finished, you know, Sheriff?
I have been requesting a schedule from the contractor now for over a month and have not seen it yet. But he did initially say hopefully by the end of July. But it's kind of worrisome that I can't get a schedule out of them, so at this point I'm asking for it daily, so. I know not be a squeaky wheel, so. Anyway, so that's where that is. And then Public Works.
I do have a couple quotes here for the stump removal that T&M's, what they've cut out so far from Cook's, Excavating, and from Ryan Barrett. That's the, what they've taken out in the park, the two big silver maples that are in the center of the park. They need to come down, and then there's that big sycamore and then the two smaller,
Now, is that part of the funds that we already approved to?
no, this was not in that.
Okay.
And then there's that, and then the VFDs that, for the upgrade in the water plant. Had Duke in here, they put their gizmo on the box, they're getting power surges, we've lost 3 VFDs and 2 pumps, I wanna say. This is from the electricians that put them in, they think this will eliminate that. So, gives this to you guys so you can see, these are 2 options that they have.
Yeah.
But these are the contracted electricians that put them in, and they've been talking with Chris this whole time about it.
So this is something that Chris and I had talked about some time ago, and it came from Wessler, actually recommended we go, because it's been very costly to replace.
Very, and it's a good thing that those are still under warranty, or we would be in a world of hurt.
And what we don't know is, if it goes out again, will they still honor the warranty?
Exactly.
Because we didn't do anything.
Right.
So this is a chance to protect that. Now, we have gone to Duke and said, hey, these are power surges coming from you that's causing this, our feeling is. And they're supposedly monitoring it, but they haven't really reported anything to us.
Now, like I said, they put some kind of, whatever they have, and put it on the box behind the water plant, and it was on there for a while. to monitor if we were getting those power surges. They said no, but we have lost them. And that keeps those VFDs, keep those pumps from hammering on and hammering off. They're very expensive and they're hard to replace. So, plus the well motors themselves.
So, just clarification, there's two different things. Are these two different?
Yes, those are two different options right there.
Two
That,
different
that
options.
note on there, there's about $1,000 for each one of them, additional for each well house. It would be, that quote would be $1,000 more.
That'd be like the installation
Yes.
cost. But these totals are for all three.
Yes, both, yeah. Yeah, the one's 10,000 and one's 15 something. But those two options that the contractor and electrician came up with, that would, they feel would be the best bet for that. And Chris has more information.
Do we have any fun stuff from the projects up there, or is that all done?
Grinding, hot and weighing, seeding.
But this would all come from
Water.
water fund.
Grinding.
How much?
Oh, so if we just want it grind, we want it in the
Total.
Oh.
Well, if you go to the lower cost one's 10,800, and then, but you'd have another $3,000 of installation costs on top of that.
Do we have those funds in
Do
the
you,
water?
do we have money? Water?
Oh, so for $50.
Pardon?
Do we have money in the water?
$50, you can seed it.
Yes.
Well, it sounds like it's kind of like something.
Do you recommend, Jim, the water commissioner recommends that we do this?
There's
I,
water.
I don't think we have much choice. If this happens again, I mean, I'm not worried.
It would be my recommendation
I
as
think
well
we
to
should,
do
yes.
it.
Joe, too?
Yes. Be very costly if we don't.
Wessler wondered if we might be able to, Bob, go back to Duke and say, we had to do this because your power surges, and maybe ask them to,
I think it's worth the try.
I think we should move forward, though.
Or how soon they could do this. We go ahead and say.
That I would have to get back with them and see. I would think they would be able to move on it quickly.
it doesn't say.
It's kind of scary.
Most of the time, though, your electrical contracts with those kind of companies will exclude out that they're not responsible for those kind of surges. And so, even though I say it's worth a try, I'm not going to hold my breath on a positive response.
Well, honestly, I think we've been very lucky that they've honored the warranty on these,
Yeah.
because really under a power surge, they probably aren't covered.
Yeah.
Because it's active gone.
How much,
Weather
how much do
related.
they cost, Joe, these things that are being destroyed?
Joe, do you know how much
How
you
much
had
they
to pay?
cost?
I do not know that number.
I didn't
right
know
off
what the
top.
cost of them
I
was,
don't.
if they were fried.
It's several $1,000s.
Yeah, there's several thousand each.
Okay, I'll do that then.
Well, I think this is critical. I make a motion that we spend the money to replace the VFD. What exactly is the language?
Just so.
So it'd be a total of $14,000.
To spend $14,000 on maintenance repair. We have a motion in a second.
And this comes out of water fund.
Coming water fund, yeah, this comes out of water fund. And I think with the caveat of still going to Duke. To vote for support.
Yeah, get some money out of it.
All right, we have a motion and a second to accept the bid from Midstate Electric and the amount of the $10,848 plus up to $14,000 to include installation coming from water funds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yep. Anything else?
That two quotes for stump removal that we've done, that TNM's taken out so far.
This is one. Okay, this is from this guy's 3,000 just to do the 5 stuffs, the shavings and Hollywood. And this one is duty free.
For the same 5 stones?
Yeah, this is, and then he's gonna seed it. With the
That last one would be the whole, he
The whole
would
thing.
grind
This
it
is
out,
if you're just wanting to do this.
fill it, and then,
Second
That's
one's
funny.
clean up, and the third one's seed.
or we can do the first one, leave those mulch chips in there for a while, which is what I would recommend. He's doing it. Now, the 2 big stumps that are in the center of the park, that we could just, he could haul out, we could haul out, and then put millings in there. The ones that are over in the park, let those chips lay there and let them break down and then cover them with dirt, let them sit there for a while and backfill with dirt when we have some
So are you,
dirt.
are you recommending just this one then, the lower cost one?
1525.
Yeah, that's for him, all five, right?
All five.
All
of them.
five for that. And
Just
that would be-
grinding and no.
He just grinding.
That's just grinding them
That
out.
he just grinding it, okay.
And then you can smooth it out.
Yeah, he can rake them out and all that, but I want to leave the chips there. It's better for the hole. Let that break down, and then after it sits there 6-8 months, then we can backfill. Or wait till next spring and then backfill. Get the dirt in there.
Make sense? Yeah.
Like that. Yeah.
So 1525, if we approve that, that's good.
That's what that's what
I mean, you're okay with that one?
I am, if you guys are good with that. It'll be out of the way, and we're not going to be here around the stuff.
All right, I need a motion to accept Dara's lawn care for an amount of $1525 to remove 5 tree stumps.
I'll make that mention.
Have a motion, a second, to accept Dara's lawn care quote of $1,525 for stump removal. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, thanks.
Anything else?
We got the truck back from Greens Fork Alignment. More costly. Transmission was, but we got it back and it's a lot better. So, more maintenance cost, yes. I'm sorry, but our fleet is old and we're spending a lot more on maintenance than we probably should be. But that's all I got. It's
Understood.
I hear it every day. Sherry's like, Joe, stop. I was like, I'm just doing what we have to run. We have to have one. And I need to get the bed fixed on the white dump truck. So now that we have the red dump truck back, I've been talking to Dave Shank, he can help us with that. There are holes in the bed of the little dump truck. So it needs to be fixed. The truck itself is solid, runs great, but the bed is just from wear and tear. We got some rust holes in it that we need to get repaired.
Just to add one thing, I talked to Joe briefly before the meeting. I talked to you, Jim, about 2 trees in town. One was from a storm on 3rd, right?
Yes, 3rd and Jones.
Yes. It's
Right across from the other property, that tree came down. We took care of most of that. I did send a letter to that homeowner to address that. I told him it needs to come off of there because it came down over the culvert and took up that new asphalt and curb that's there. Okay, we got it out of the road. We took 90% of that tree out of there already. But it's still laying over. Got a complaint on it over the weekend when I came in and checked the message this morning. Understand the frustration. He is aware. He does have a letter and he will be fine if this is not addressed.
So for that, I did get an estimate from T&M today for $300 to remove that stump, which is a pretty good price.
Yes, that is a very good price.
So I handed that to Joe, and well, you could, I don't know if we need to make a decision on that right now, but there is another tree in town on the corner of Jones and Church, which is in front of a house, which has been dead for years. I assume it's an ash, but I'm not sure. And it's hanging over their house, and it's a danger to.
Is it the white house on the border?
Yep.
238?
Yep. And so I got an estimate for that too, $600, which is a very reasonable estimate that they can take down, same company. So the reason is because there are concerns over their ability to take care of this tree, and
I can see that.
From a cost standpoint, and it is a danger, I believe, to the neighborhood. So
There have been some limbs come out of there that we picked up and hauled off already.
we don't need a liability. It is it is the property owner's responsibility. I realize that, but it also is a responsibility of the town, I think. So that's the worst
But we
one.
don't have any trees. We don't own any trees.
I understand, but
I mean, but how, if we take responsibility on this one, then
I understand that.
Okay,
That's why maybe there's a chance that somebody could support the taking of this tree down. Or more than one person, but it needs to come down. So, one way or another.
I need that email to you that I sent to you, John, on all the different responsibilities of trees for the first.
I have it in the truck. I keep it in the truck. I can go get it if you need it. I want it.
If they need to make a decision.
Yep.
That's fine. I can help with that. But I think the other one, if we could give the person on that corner that's got the stump a $300, that's better than a fine, I would think. I mean, the fine would be cheaper, but I'm assuming
Yeah, it would be.
it's not that expensive to move, to get it out of there. So I can help you with that as well.
Joe, what about the damage to the street at, I think it's Shawnee and Walnut that we talked about last week, where somebody had driven over.
The buses there?
Yeah,
Yes.
I saw it.
I had to order couplings to hook that stuff together. We have one road plate, and then if that is at Maple and Simmons for the 2-inch line. We're trying to find where that line is. There is a 4-inch line main on the south side of Maple. There is also a 2-inch on the north side. We're trying to find where that goes to, where it runs. If we can cap it off, we're going to cap it off and stay. If you look down there, if you go down Maple, you will feel where those service lines come across, and it needs to be repaid. But if we can cap that off and not use it, that will save us money in the long run. That's why, so we had to find where that was. So we have one road plate that will cover that. I need that road plate to cover Shawnee and Walnut. So once we get that hole filled back in, that hole's about 5 feet deep, and there's 4 lines that go in there. That's why we're trying to.
Okay.
Chris is working that. As soon as he gets that filled back in, then we will cut that, pull everything out, and put the new culvert pipe in. Backfill with flex fill, and then be able to concrete it.
we need to vote on this, so he can vote on those trees. We need to vote on those trees. Those trees that Jim was talking about, so he can.
Joe, if I remember correctly, didn't we base it on my tree memo? Didn't we come down? It's almost always the property owner rather than the town.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can go. I can go grab that.
We can work on that and come back.
I'm trying to find it in the board.
Cause I know what you're talking about.
So Joe, he just got
I
introduced
just
to
wanna
it.
make sure
So I
that
thought we should.
if we need to move forward, we need to take a vote on it.
I know what tree you're talking about.
But I don't think we have the process by which we should do it yet.
Because I do agree that this could open up a can as far as that. And I understand needing assistance. I get that.
Yeah.
Church, Peter Jones. So
Here, okay.
we'll take care of that and get back
Yeah.
to town,
Yeah.
the council.
I'll tell you it again.
Anything else?
Till we meet again.
No, I think we're good.
Bob, you have anything
The
for
only
us?
thing I had was to point out that you and I think Sharon and I each received the rate study that's been done now by Baker Tilly. And there's a conference call Thursday morning, a workshop to talk about that. I don't think there's anything else to share. Tonight might be premature, don't you think?
I don't think so. I mean, I think we can share that preliminary with anybody that wants to see it at this
Right.
point.
But I don't want to scare the
Right, because it's really just a preliminary
It's a
report.
preliminary,
It's not the
yeah.
final report.
Yeah.
It's gonna create a lot of questions.
Yes.
You'll find
Yes, it
out the
will.
final on Thursday then?
No, we'll discuss the preliminary and
We'll
then
discuss the
they'll
preliminary.
finalize after that.
Okay.
Look forward to it.
And do you know, phase 2, we're paying out of our local funds. You guys realize that? I mean, I'm writing checks to Wessler, like this past week, $94,000.
The engineering part of it is,
For the
yes.
engineering and the,
Yeah.
okay,
Debbie, you have anything?
I'm good. Don't forget, we're gonna be closed on Friday, June 13th, because I won't be here and Karen's gonna be training.
Okay. Gary?
No.
Jim? Entertain a motion to adjourn,
So move.
Got it?
and everybody is in favor. We are adjourned.
All right, thank you.